I want you to look at your hands. I want you to hold them out in front of you, palms down, fingers spread wide. Maybe you are sitting at your kitchen table, or maybe you are holding your phone right now. Watch your fingers. Do you see a slight tremor? Do you see a rhythmic, uncontrollable quiver, perhaps in the thumb or the index finger? Now, think back to this morning. Did you struggle to keep the coffee in the cup as you lifted it to your lips? Did you find it difficult to button your shirt or sign a check because the pen wouldn't stay still? For millions of people over the age of 60, this moment, the moment they notice the shake, is a moment of pure, cold terror. The mind immediately jumps to one conclusion. You think of the famous actors, the neighbors, the stories you have heard. You think, this is it. It's Parkinson's disease. My brain is failing. My independence is over. I am here to tell you that fear is often a liar. While Parkinson's is a serious condition, it is statistically much less likely than the actual cause of your shaking. What if I told you that your hands aren't shaking because your brain is degenerating, but because your body is starving for fuel? What if I told you that the trembling isn't a neurological disease, but a chemical alarm bell ringing because your blood sugar has dropped into the danger zone? Or perhaps it is a side effect of that extra cup of coffee you had this morning, which your body can no longer process the way it did when you were 30. Today, we are going to dismantle the fear of the tremor. We are going to explore the very common, very treatable, and often ignored connection between hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, and shaky hands. We are going to teach you the difference between a resting tremor and an action tremor, which is the key to knowing if you should worry. And I am going to give you a simple, 5-minute test involving a glass of juice that can tell you more about your condition than $1,000 worth of MRI scans. By the end of this video, you might just realize that the cure for your shaking hands isn't brain surgery, it's a sandwich. To understand why your hands shake when you are hungry, we have to look at the human body as a high-performance engine. Your brain is the driver of that engine. It is a very demanding driver. It requires a constant, steady stream of premium fuel to function. That fuel is glucose, sugar. Your brain cannot store fuel like your muscles can. It relies entirely on the blood to deliver a fresh supply every second of every day. When that supply drops, when you skip breakfast, or when you eat a sugary donut that causes a spike and then a crash, your brain panics. It senses a threat to its survival. When your brain realizes that glucose levels are falling, it sends out a distress signal to your adrenal glands. It screams, "Emergency! We are running out of fuel." Your adrenal glands respond by releasing a massive surge of adrenaline, epinephrine. Adrenaline is the fight or flight hormone. Its job in this situation is to tell the liver to dump stored sugar into the blood to save the brain. But adrenaline has side effects. It is a stimulant. It makes your heart race. It makes you sweat. And, most importantly for our topic today, it makes your muscles twitch and vibrate. That shaking you see in your hands is literally an adrenaline overdose caused by your body trying to save itself from starvation. It is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of a survival mechanism working overtime. For those of us over 60, this system is more sensitive. We lose our metabolic flexibility. When we were younger, we could skip a meal and be fine. Now, if we miss lunch by an hour, the shake set in. We get hangry, hungry and angry. We feel weak. The tremor is the first visual sign that your tank is empty. This is called reactive hypoglycemia, and it mimics the symptoms of anxiety and neurological disorders so perfectly that it fools even doctors. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, Parkinson's disease. Why do we fear it so much? Because it signifies a loss of control. However, you need to know the visual difference between a Parkinsonian tremor and a metabolic tremor. This is the knowledge that will let you sleep at night. Parkinson's disease is characterized by a resting tremor. This means the hand shakes when it is doing nothing. If your hands are resting in your lap while you watch TV, and your thumb is rolling against your finger like you are rolling a pill, that is a Parkinson's sign. But, if your hands are perfectly still in your lap, and they only start to shake when you reach for something, when you reach for the fork, the pen, or the cup, that is called an action tremor. An action tremor is almost never Parkinson's. It is usually essential tremor, or, more likely, the metabolic tremor caused by low sugar, caffeine, or medication. If you can sit still without shaking, but you spill your tea when you lift the cup, you are likely looking at a sugar issue or a benign condition, not a degenerative brain disease. This distinction is crucial. The shaking that happens when you use your muscles is often just a signal that the nerves controlling those muscles are overstimulated by adrenaline or lack of fuel. Now, let's discuss the candy test. This is a diagnostic tool you can use in your own kitchen. The next time your hands start shaking, maybe it is 11 a.m. or 4 p.m., the classic times for sugar crashes, I want you to stop what you are doing. Go to the kitchen. Pour yourself a small glass of orange juice, or eat a handful of hard candies, or eat a banana. Consume about 15 to 20 grams of fast-acting carbohydrates. Then, sit down and wait. Wait for 15 minutes. If the shaking stops, or if it reduces significantly, you have your answer. Parkinson's disease does not respond to orange juice. A brain lesion does not get better with a banana. If sugar fixes the shake, the cause was low sugar. You have just diagnosed yourself with hypoglycemia. The relief you will feel in that moment is profound. You realize that you are not losing your mind, you just need to adjust your lunch schedule. But sugar is only half the story. We have to talk about the drug of choice for most Americans, caffeine. Coffee, tea, soda, and chocolate. As we age, our liver gets slower at processing chemicals. The cup of coffee you drank at 8 a.m. might still be circulating in your blood at 2 p.m. Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant. It blocks the chemical in your brain that makes you feel tired, and it increases the firing rate of your neurons. If you are over 60 and you are drinking 2, 3, or 4 cups of coffee a day, you are essentially vibrating your nervous system. You might not feel wired, but your fine motor skills will suffer. Your hands will shake. Many seniors go to the doctor complaining of tremors, and the doctor prescribes beta blockers to stop the shaking, when the real cure is simply switching to decaf. If you have a tremor, try a caffeine detox for 1 week. It might be a headache for the first 2 days, but if the shaking disappears, you know the culprit. It wasn't a disease, it was the Starbucks. There is another hidden cause that is rampant in the 60-plus community: medication side effects. We are the most medicated generation in history. Many common drugs cause tremors as a side effect. Asthma inhalers, albuterol. These open your lungs, but they are stimulants. They cause the hands to shake almost immediately. Antidepressants, SSRIs. Drugs like Zoloft or Prozac can cause fine tremors. Steroids, prednisone is a powerful drug that affects blood sugar and nerve excitability. Mood stabilizers, lithium and Depakote are famous for causing the shakes. If your shaking started after you began a new medication, do not assume it is a new disease. It is likely the drug. Talk to your doctor. Do not just stop the med, but ask, could this be causing my tremor? Often, lowering the dose or switching to a different class of drug eliminates the problem entirely. Let's go deeper into the diet because this is where you have the most control. The roller coaster is the enemy. Many seniors fall into a pattern of eating a tea and toast diet. A piece of toast for breakfast, a light salad for lunch, maybe some soup for dinner. This diet is dangerously low in protein and healthy fats. It is almost entirely carbohydrates. When you eat just toast, your blood sugar spikes up fast, and then it crashes down fast. It is the crash that causes the adrenaline surge and the shaking. To stop the hands from shaking, you need to anchor your blood sugar. You need an anchor. That anchor is protein. You should never eat a carbohydrate alone. If you have an apple, eat it with peanut butter. If you have toast, put an egg on it. If you have crackers, have a slice of cheese. The protein and fat slow down the digestion of the sugar. They turn the spike into a gentle hill. They keep your glucose steady for 4 hours instead of 1. If you stabilize your sugar, you turn off the adrenaline alarm. The shaking stops before it starts. We also need to mention hydration. Dehydration mimics many diseases. When you are dehydrated, your electrolyte balance is off. Your nerves need sodium, potassium, and calcium to send signals correctly. If you are dried out, the signals get static. Why? The muscles twitch. Your hands shake. If you are feeling shaky, drink a tall glass of water with your snack. It helps flush the system and rehydrate the nerves. Let's talk about the emotional impact of the shake. I know how embarrassing it can be. You go out to dinner with friends. You want to order the soup, but you are afraid you will spill it. You order the sandwich instead because you can hold it with 2 hands. You avoid public speaking or holding a microphone. You feel like everyone is watching your hands. You feel judged. You feel like they are thinking, "Oh, look at that poor old person." This social anxiety actually releases more adrenaline, which makes the shaking worse. It is a vicious cycle. The fear of shaking makes you shake. By understanding the cause, "Oh, I haven't eaten in 4 hours, I need a snack," you remove the mystery. You remove the fear. You can excuse yourself, eat a protein bar, drink some water, and come back to the table steady and confident. You take control of the narrative. You aren't frail, you are just hungry. There is a condition called essential tremor that we touched on earlier. I want to expand on this because it is very common and often runs in families. If your mother had shaky hands and your grandmother had shaky hands, you likely have essential tremor. This is a benign condition. It is not Parkinson's. It does not shorten your life. It does not lead to dementia. It is just a noisy nerve channel. It gets worse when you try to do fine tasks like threading a needle. It gets better with a little bit of alcohol, which is why Grandpa's hands stopped shaking after his evening drink. While I am not prescribing alcohol as a treatment, if you notice your shake vanishes after a glass of wine, that is a classic sign of essential tremor, not Parkinson's. There are medications for this, like propranolol, if it bothers you, but many people just live with it knowing it is harmless. Now, let's look at the B12 connection again. We talked about B12 causing a red tongue, but it also causes nerve damage. If your nerves are stripped of their insulation, myelin, due to B12 deficiency, the signals to your hands become erratic. This can cause a tremor. If you have the shakes and numbness in your feet and you feel tired, ask your doctor to check your B12 levels immediately. A simple vitamin supplement could steady your hands in a matter of weeks. Magnesium is another mineral to watch. Magnesium is the relaxer mineral. It relaxes muscles. If you are deficient in magnesium, which many seniors are, your muscles stay in a state of semi-contraction. They twitch. They vibrate. Adding magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, spinach, or a supplement, magnesium glycinate, can help calm the nervous system and reduce the tremor. I want to give you a morning routine to prevent the shakes. Wake up and hydrate, drink a glass of water before the coffee. Eat protein first, do not just have coffee. Have yogurt, eggs, or nuts. Put fuel in the tank before you rev the engine. Limit caffeine, switch to half CAF or limit yourself to 1 cup. Review meds, take your medications with food, unless directed otherwise, to buffer their absorption. There is also a phenomenon called orthostatic tremor. This is when your legs or hands shake only when you are standing up, but stop when you sit down or walk. This is rare, but if you feel like your legs are vibrating when you stand in line at the grocery store, that is what it is. It is not Parkinson's. It is a specific balance issue. Leaning on the cart helps. Knowing the name of it helps you explain it to your doctor. Let's address the alcohol withdrawal tremor. This is a sensitive subject, but important. As we age, our tolerance for alcohol drops. If you drink a few glasses of wine every night, you might experience a withdrawal tremor the next morning. Your body has become dependent on the sedative effect of the alcohol. When it wears off, the nervous system bounces back into a hyperexcitable state. You shake until you have the next drink. This is a dangerous road. If you find you are shaking every morning until noon, look honestly at your evening intake. Reducing alcohol can eliminate this morning quake. I want to reassure you about the diagnostic process. If you go to a neurologist, they will do simple tests. They will ask you to draw a spiral on a piece of paper. If the spiral is small and cramped, micrographia, that points toward Parkinson's. If the spiral is large and jagged/shaky, that points toward essential tremor or metabolic issues. They will look at your face. Parkinson's often causes a masked face, loss of expression, and infrequent blinking. If you are smiling, blinking normally, and expressive, but your hands are shaking, the odds are in your favor. The fear of the unknown is worse than the reality. Living in fear that every twitch is a death sentence steals your joy. It stops you from living. I want you to look at your hands again. These are the hands that built a life. These are the hands that held your children, that worked hard, that cooked meals, that wrote letters. They have served you well. If they are shaking a little now, treat them with kindness, not fear. Feed them. Hydrate them. Rest them. Do not hide your hands. Do not sit on them to stop the shaking. When you hide, you tell yourself there is something to be ashamed of. There isn't. You are simply navigating the biology of an aging body. If you try the candy test and it works, you have just reclaimed your life. You know the enemy, and the enemy is just hunger. You can beat hunger. You can keep a granola bar in your purse. You can keep some juice in the fridge. You are in control. So, the next time the tremor starts, take a deep breath. Check your watch. When did you eat last? How much coffee have you had? Are you stressed? Address those 3 things first. 9 times out of 10, the shaking will stop, and you can go back to holding your cup of tea with the steady, strong grip you have always had. Thank you for listening. I hope this information brings you peace. Go eat a good, protein-rich snack, drink some water, and watch those hands steady themselves. You are going to be okay.